Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley here in Washington. I want to remind you of my books about Obama. Obama now at 48%. That means he has lost 4% of the voters that were for him, the dupes, the Kool-Aid cultists, the lemming legions, the callow and feckless youth, the swarming adolescents, and so forth. He got 52% last November. If he's now down to 48%, he's lost 4% of his support. Now, that's a margin that can lose you an election clearly enough. So this is now getting serious. I hope I've contributed something to this with the following books: Obama, the Postmodern Coup, The Making of a Manchurian Candidate. And again, what you see in there, the pattern of Jimmy Carter compared to the future pattern of Obama. I say in the book, Obama will probably follow the Carter pattern, which is to peak shortly after the 100 days and then begin an inexorable decline, punctuated perhaps by false flag events that will generate the famous rally round effect, as we saw with Bush. We also saw it with Carter, with the taking of the hostages and similar events. So that's Obama, the Postmodern Coup. Get it at Amazon.com, ProgressivePress.com, or other sources. It's available elsewhere around the Internet. The other one, of course, Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography. Here, above all, we stress the foundation pedigree of Obama, the mother working for the Ford Foundation, actually working at the Ford Foundation for Geithner's father. But Obama is a creature of the Ford Foundation extended family. He worked for the Gamaliel Foundation, the Joyce Foundation, the Woods Fund, and the Annenberg Foundation. He was a resident union buster against teachers' unions for the Annenberg Chicago Challenge. That means anything you read about Obama on Annenberg Fact Check is worthless, because Annenberg Fact Check has a huge conflict of interest. Obama is a former employee of the Annenberg Foundation empire, itself a satellite of the Ford Foundation. This is also important. It shows this kind of biography is destiny. Look at Obama and Henry Louis Gates. Without wanting to get into the specifics of this, who is Henry Louis Gates? How did he get to Harvard? Well, he got there with the help of the Andrew Mellon Foundation. Andrew Mellon, remember him, the arch-reactionary quasi-fascist Secretary of the Treasury who ran Harding, Coolidge, and Hoover, the most reactionary Republican. Liquidate stocks, liquidate bonds, liquidate real estate, liquidate labor, liquidate all of them, and then we'll have a business cycle recovery. Never happened, and too bad if you died as part of that. This was so bad that even Herbert Hoover couldn't put up with them. I think he got rid of them. So Gates, a product of the Mellon Foundation with all that arch-reactionary money, and indeed of the Ford Foundation. So we can say that in speaking up in defense of Henry Louis Gates, Obama is defending his own Ford Foundation family, extended family. So that's highly interesting. These are the kinds of things you find. These are the nuggets you find on every page of Obama, Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography, also available at Amazon.com, ProgressivePress.com. And then the most recent, of course, Surviving the Cataclysm, Your Guide to the Greatest Financial Crisis in Human History. The second edition, very nice review now by Robert Steele. Thanks go out to Robert Steele, one of the leading reviewers, I think, for nonfiction, the number one leading reviewer for Amazon.com, written a very nice review of the book. Do take a look. Another reviewer also, as I read last week, has understood the essence of this, that it accurately predicts just about every phase of the current crisis, tells you how to get out of it, tells you also how to survive as an individual. The Robert Steele review points to the book as something eminently worth reading. So do take a look and get your copy, Surviving the Cataclysm, Your Guide to the Greatest Financial Crisis in Human History. The second edition, brought up to date with a wealth of new material. I will also point to the Obama Deception, coming from Alex Jones at Infowars.com. That is, I think, also one of the main ingredients in undermining Obama's public posture and his popularity, and stripping off his left cover in particular, and any other cover he might have. because he tried to get all kinds, but the left cover is the main one. That's available from Alex Jones, and there's going to be a sequel to that. So make sure you get the Obama Deception now, and keep looking for the sequel, which will be another installment in that series of documentary films. I think some of the best in the United States in the last couple of years. Now let's shift gears over to the economic situation. The derivatives. Let's look at derivatives. We have been arguing here for quite a while that the main reason, the number one cause of the present world economic depression, breakdown crisis, disintegration of the Anglo-American banking system, and the dollar are the derivatives, the $1.5 quadrillion derivatives bubble. And we know that the ruling elite and their minions in the media have experienced a taboo on mentioning the word derivatives as the cause of the crisis. Because, of course, as soon as you say the derivatives caused the crisis, Joe Blow does not sell derivatives, but Morgan Stanley, as well as Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, these are your derivatives monsters. The zombie banks are what they are because they are derivatives monsters. That's the species of zombie that you're dealing with. So there's a big desire to avoid this, right? We hear about exotic instruments, complex instruments, toxic paper. We hear about unwinding. We hear about counterparties. These are all code words for derivatives. So refreshing to pick up the Washington Post here, Monday, July 27th. Robert G. Wilmers, who is a banker, he's the chairman of M&T Bank, one of the 20 top U.S. bank holding companies. So a banker. The title, Where the Crisis Came From. What's the cause of the depression, in other terms? And he writes, quote, at the heart of the financial crisis lie the complex, opaque, derivative securities created not by traditional Main Street banks, but by Wall Street. With the passive complicity of regulators, Wall Street originated, sold an alphabet soup of derivative securities. And it was such synthetic instruments, not traditional mortgage loans, small business loans, or other standing lending by banks, that unleashed a flood of credit, created then all of the elements of the bubble. Derivatives, derivatives, derivatives. There it is. A leading banker tells you the cause of the crisis are the derivatives. And, of course, that means the credit default swaps, structured investment vehicles, collateralized debt obligations, mortgage-backed securities, asset-backed securities. We've even got now new ones, collateralized loan obligations is the new one attempted to be peddled by Morgan Stanley, probably as thanks for having gotten all that money off the TARP. By the way, when Goldman Sachs says that they have paid back the TARP, this is baloney. They say, we paid back all the money that the Treasury lent us as part of the bailout. Yeah, baloney. Because Goldman Sachs got loans from the Federal Reserve, loans from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and they got practically $15 billion through AIG. That's why Goldman Sachs can say we just had our best quarter, because they were getting all that money from the federal government. Right? Goldman Sachs, now called Government Sachs. It is this parasite, as we see from Matt Taibbi over at Rolling Stone, a very dramatic and interesting article, not theoretically the soundest, but certainly journalistically very good, that Goldman Sachs is a parasite on humanity. Go Taibbi. That's a step in the right direction. We'll be back in a minute.